Hello everyone and welcome back to Superboy Beyond, and this week we are returning to the George Reeves Adventures of Superman TV series, and this is episode 3, the Talkative Dummy. I don't remember really much about this episode. I know it's one I've seen a couple of times, but I remember something about a safe.
It's been so long since I watched it, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I remember there was a scene involving a safe and a window, but that's literally all I remember about this episode. It might not even be this episode, but I'm fairly sure it is. Just because I know it was so early. But anyway, if this is your first time watching one of our videos, it's not like a typical YouTube reaction video. You're not going to hear any audio from the episode. You will see a very heavily filtered version of the episode up there in the middle, but that's purely so you can keep in time with us. You'll need your own copy of the show to watch alongside. We'll count you in with a 3, 2, 1 play. As long as you hit play when we do, you'll be in sync and you'll watch the entire thing alongside us. So get your DVD or digital copy ready. This is season 1, episode 3 in 3, 2, 1. Play. And here we go.
God, you gotta love that opening sequence.
Yeah, and I love this theme tune. The only complaint I have about the theme tune is that the audio quality isn't a bit higher. Like I don't know. I want to see or hear rather, like an orchestra do a new version of this theme tune. Just play it exactly the same instruments, same arrangement, but just with higher quality microphones. I'd love to hear what that would sound like. If anybody knows that someone has done this, let us know in the comments, because yeah, I would love to hear that.
This is one thing that I wish that TV shows still did is an opening, credit sequence.
Yeah, a lot of shows these days, they seem to have just a title card. Although actually a lot of these more high budget shows now seem to have these really overly long and slightly pretentious title sequences that are just like 4 minutes long, and just after the first few episodes you just end up skipping it most of the time.
Yep.
So yeah, there's kind of a middle ground that I miss. But then, I'm strange. I miss movie trailers with the overly dramatic voiceover guy. In a world. Like, I miss those trailers. They were fun. Why don't we have that anymore?
Because that guy died.
Yeah, but there was more than one guy. I know the main guy died, but there were other people doing that job.
And as much as I love Noelle, Phyllis is drop dead gorgeous.
She is. I mean, they both are, but I must admit, Phyllis Coates is my preferred Lois. At least visually. Although I do think Noelle Neal looks an awful lot like that actress Kristen Ritter, the one who was Jessica Jones on Netflix. I do think they've got some...
You mean Kristen Ritter looks like Noelle Neal?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. There's some pictures you see both of them, like just photos of them side by side, both smiling, and they look so alike. It's just like, if they ever make a movie about Noelle Neal's life, that's who they need to cast. Plus, it would be kind of strange seeing Jessica Jones as Lois Lane on screen.
Well, it's just as weird as seeing, Daredevil playing George Reeves.
Yeah. And then Batman.
If they were going to redo this episode now for a modern TV show, they could get Jeff Dunham for the ventriloquist.
I can't stand Jeff Dunham. Maybe get a ventriloquist that's actually funny.
I don't know. He has his moments.
I can't stand him personally. I just think it's funny that they've gone to like this really quite upscale looking theatre to see an old man with a puppet. Like, I mean, they must have been so starved for entertainment back then. Like, at least now there's like, if it's a ventriloquist, like he also does magic or also does comedy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I guess he did tell a joke on stage, but it wasn't really funny.
And you remember what you were saying when we did Kirk Allen, how Tommy Bond looks a little too old?
Mm.
In a business suit like this, Jack looks a little too old to be Jimmy.
Maybe. I don't know. I think he still looks younger than Tommy Bond. Maybe it's the lack of a hat. I think it really is just the hat that makes Tommy Bond look so much older, to be honest. Like Jimmy in a suit, I mean, you could kind of just see him as, maybe it's school uniform or something, I know America doesn't have school uniforms quite as much as the UK, but still.
Yeah, I think the only places we have them here in the US is
private schools and stuff. Yeah. Whereas here, I think practically every school has school uniform because it stops people coming in just dressed inappropriately and, looking like a mess. Which is fair enough, but there isn't a single kid in this country that actually likes their uniform. I'll tell you that much for free.
Hey, I went to Catholic school, and I know what you're talking about.
I mean, I had to wear this blazer. It was like a maroon blazer, the same color as like Brandon Routh's cape, and it just felt like I was walking around in a giant bruise.
Yeah. Not fun.
No. I've got to say, I do love the Perry White in this. I forget the actor's name, but
John Hamilton.
John Hamilton, that's it. I just like his way of speaking. I realize it's just a function of when this was made, but just the fast talking, like he's just like a fast talking, no nonsense reporter, and I kind of love it. It's like a perfect sort of, yeah. It reminds me of what's that movie with? Is it Tim Robbins? Is it the Hudsucker Proxy or something?
Yes, the way both Jennifer Jason Leigh and Bruce Campbell talk as the reporters.
Yeah, just like that. That's what it reminds me of.
Back in the day, Jennifer Jason Leigh might not have made a bad Lois Lane.
I can see that. Yeah. Yeah, she'd be pretty good. I've also thought that Jennifer Connelly would have been an interesting Lois Lane. She's just brilliant actress. And it doesn't hurt that she's also incredibly beautiful.
Yeah.
But then again, we might not have got her in Hulk, and she's one of the better parts of that movie, in my opinion. So,
I don't, she was good. Banner was good as Bruce. The fact that Ang Lee tried to say that the more angry he gets, the bigger he gets, that's a little...
Bigger he gets never made sense for me, but stronger he gets always was fine. Than that I can see. But him actually physically growing and getting taller every time he gets a little bit more angry, it was a little bit silly. I grant you that.
Yeah.
But I will say that movie, at least stylistically, I'm so glad that movie exists because it really did try to do something unique with the comic book movie as a format. It didn't work, but I really appreciate the attempt. I know some people found it too distracting with all those scene transitions, but I always liked it personally.
I think the bank manager that they just talked to was actor Pierre Watkin.
Really? I recognize the name, but I couldn't tell you where from.
He was Perry White in the Kirk Allen stuff.
Huh. I wonder if that was him. Keep that in mind. When we get to the end of this episode, I'll look it up on IMDb. Be interesting if it is.
Well, Lou has told me that there was plans to bring him in the, when they did the final seasons, before George died, when they were going to do a seventh season, because
the actor playing John Hamilton died, didn't he?
Yeah.
Very sad.
And they still wanted to do shows, so they needed a Perry White, so they were going to say that this was actually Perry's brother.
I would have just recast and not commented on it personally.
Like they recast Lois and didn't say anything.
Exactly. There's precedent for it. It'd be a bit harder to do that with Superman himself, but I'm sure it would have been fine. I'm glad they didn't, though. Man, I just love these old cars. I know I say it every episode, but they're just so much more stylish than anything these days.
Not so aerodynamic, as you pointed out when we did the last episode of
yeah,
Kirk
but
Allen.
I mean, not every car needs to look like a spaceship, It's nice to have a couple of cars that look like spaceships, like the DeLorean,
Yes.
But you wouldn't want every car to be a DeLorean. That would just be a nightmare. Plus, they wouldn't have what makes them special is the uniqueness of them. I don't know. I wish a car manufacturer would start putting out cars that look like the old ones again. Even if they weren't as tough as the old ones, use more modern, lightweight materials. Have them look like the old ones, but maybe don't have them be super, super heavy and just made out of steel, I do like the set for the Daily Planet office as well. It's very basic, but it's got just enough texture to it that it's interesting.
Yeah.
I love that Clark Kent has his own water cooler in his office. It's not just the office water cooler, he has his own one in his office. Man, even just the old typewriters are cool to look at.
And is it just me, or does it not look like an actual office? Like it's a big office that's been separated by a mini wall.
It does kind of look like that. It almost looks like one of those. I don't know what they're called. It's like sheet metal, but it's sort of got the sort of wobbly pattern as it goes down. They use a lot in like garages and stuff like that. It almost looked like they've just separated it off with a thing of sheet metal.
I think this is actually the first appearance of Bill Henderson in the show.
Yeah, he wasn't in episode 1 or 2 that I remember. Still a shame that when they had a cop in Superboy, they didn't call him Henderson. He would have been so easy.
I could kind of see why they didn't use the name Henderson, because you would say, oh, well, that's his life as Superman.
Yeah, but I mean, he's never been adapted into anything except this show, as far as I know.
Ruby Spears.
Oh, right. Okay. So Ruby Spears did it. Maybe that's
one
why
episode
then.
which we haven't gotten to yet.
Okay. So maybe that's why they couldn't do it. Maybe it was a rights thing. Superman could get away with it, but Superboy couldn't.
Yeah. Yep, that's Pierre Watkin.
Was it really?
Yep.
Fantastic.
It's kind of funny to see him sitting at a desk
talking to the wrong Jimmy.
Well, not just that, but without him trying to light a cigar that he never gets to light.
Was that a trope then with his Perry White?
Yeah, he doesn't get to actually light the cigar until the final episode.
It's probably a budget thing, isn't it? It probably was a fake cigar.
Mm. And here Jack looks rather young. He looks the way he's supposed to.
Yeah, he looks Jimmy age. He's not really a kid, but he's not quite an adult either, you know.
Yeah.
He's a youth. Or a ute, as they'd say in My Cousin Vinny.
Mm. Oh, yeah, this is a great idea, Jimmy. Listen at somebody's door.
Mm.
I think the guy at the desk is Tris Coffey, who has made multiple appearances on the George Reeves show.
Mm.
See, this is what happens when you hang out with Lou as long as I have.
You learn all the trivia about the show. Makes sense.
Yep.
Now, all I'll say about Jimmy there, if you're going to make a phone call about having seen something illegal, maybe speak in a quieter tone and shut the door. You know, two things he could have done to not get caught in that situation, and he didn't do either of them.
Well, you know, the thing about Jimmy is he never thinks.
No. It's that youthful, what's it called? Not exuberance. You know, where they just charge in head first and don't think of the
Bravado.
consequence. Bravado, yeah. Maybe bravado.
I think this is one of the only episodes where we actually got to see the inside of the bullpen of the planet. Usually it's always in either Clark's office, Lois's office, or
just outside Perry's office.
Or inside Perry's office.
Yeah. Although it's
right about
the room, the room just outside Perry's is where Lois's desk is, isn't it? I'm not thinking of a different set. Am I? Anyway, there's the safe and the window, so I guess it was the right episode. I thought there was a safe involved. I didn't remember that Jimmy was in it. I thought it was going to drop on someone. Never mind.
No, it's going to drop and cause a Jimmy pancake inside.
Yeah. I guess that's the element I forgot. I thought it was going to drop the safe onto somebody walking down below, but never mind. That was interesting. In that shot where they were lowering the safe down, I could have sworn the outside of that building. Does that look like it's just a painting to you? It doesn't look three-dimensional to me. It looks like just a painting of the outside of a building.
I think we're a couple of seconds off, so I'll see in a second.
Yeah, every time there's a wide shot of the safe just dangling, it doesn't quite look 3D to me. It looks like it's a painting or something, probably a miniature.
Yeah, it's a backdrop.
Yeah. Clever use of the budget, though. That was the only way they could probably accomplish that shot on TV, and
you can kind of tell because because of the way the shadow hits.
Yeah, it doesn't quite look 3D, does it?
Yeah.
But I tell you what, in black and white, totally works.
Yeah,
and I doubt on an old TV, I would not have been able to tell. The only reason I can tell now is because I'm watching on a 4K monitor.
Yeah. Plus, in the 50s, people wouldn't have noticed.
Definitely not. It was a good shot as he caught the safe as well. I'm guessing it was his stuntman rather than George himself, but yeah, it was a good shot as he caught the safe.
I'll see in a second. Yeah, I think it was the stuntman because you could tell the hair is different from behind.
Yeah. It's still a good shot, though. I wonder when this episode was shot in like the production schedule, because obviously we know that they were aired out of order. I wonder if this was after George had his accident, like on the wires. Although, was that on Mole Men? So it would have had to have been. Was it
No,
Mole?
it was during the actual production of the series.
Yeah. So I wonder if this was after he started saying, no, you can get the stuntman to do it. We'll figure out other ways. It might just have been that it was easier to get the stuntman to do it, to be honest.
Yeah. So now Bill has joined them at the Talkative Dummy case.
Hmm. Makes sense. Sounds like a good plan. When you've got Superman keeping watch, it sounds like a good plan. Probably would be a bit risky otherwise.
I don't think we've ever commented on this before, but Robert Shane, who plays Bill Henderson, this is only one of 2 comic book related projects he worked on.
What was the other one?
The Flash.
What, in 1990?
Yep.
Huh.
He came out of retirement to play the blind news vendor that Barry always saw.
I still think it's strange how The Flash and Superboy season 3 and 4 aired simultaneously and both had a blind news guy that both the leads kept talking to throughout the show.
Yeah.
It's a very specific trope that I only know of those 2 shows that did it, but I wonder where they were influenced. You know, wonder where they got the idea.
Maybe from Johnny Dangerously, the character that Ray Walston played.
I've never seen Johnny Dangerously, so I couldn't tell you. But
funny movie. You got to watch it. It's how I became, introduced to Michael Keaton.
I did like a line that was in this a moment ago. Henderson actually says when they say, like, where's Clark off to? He's like, I don't know, maybe he goes off into an alley, takes off his glasses and turns into Superman. And he just flippantly just throws it away. It's just an offhanded remark. Great. This show was this show liked to make jokes about the secret identity like that.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Fun little bit of humor, even if it does get a little bit repetitive after a while. I even like on this show how I just start learning different phrases and stuff. Like third time loser is a phrase I've heard in multiple episodes of this show that I'd never heard before. I guess it's just not said anymore, but I'm guessing it's like a 3 strikes rule for prison.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just it's cool hearing some of the old slang even. Did they change George's costume at all over the show? Because I don't know, I could swear that his suit looks slightly better than it did in the previous episode. Maybe it's just the muscle suit is sitting differently.
It's a possibility. I know they did change it from black and white to color because the black and white suit was gray and brown.
Yeah. I think maybe it's just that the padding to give him muscles or whatever was just sitting slightly differently, maybe. I suppose Clark is quite fortunate, really. Like there always seems to be a phone ring or an interruption of some kind, right as he's got to explain something. So he gets away with not even having to explain half the time because the interruptions come at just the right moment.
Yep.
Maybe super luck is one of his powers. Anyway, that was the case of the talkative dummy. Fun episode.
Yeah.
Fun episode. Maybe my favorite episode of the show so far. Although I did like episode 1 quite a bit with the whole backstory and stuff. But
Yeah.
we'll see. As it goes on, we'll watch more and more of these. Maybe I'll find a favorite along the way. But yeah, so far I'm thinking I like this one the most. I enjoyed the whole sequence with the safe. It wasn't just the case starts, they say what they've got to do, and then basically it gets wrapped up in 5 minutes. Like it actually went on a couple of twists and turns. Like it wasn't just find out something's going on, Superman stops it. There was a process, and there were, stumbles along the way, stuff like that.
Yep.
I think it was a good episode. I'd give it maybe a 7.5 to an 8 out of 10. How about you?
I would go as far as an 8 on this.
Yeah, 8 sounds about fair.
Yep,
do you have anything else you want to say?
And Pierre Watkin.
It was him?
Yep.
Brilliant. No, I obviously I didn't recognize him, so pretty cool that you spotted him. So yeah, is there anything else on this episode you want to say before we move on?
I think we've said pretty much all that needs to be said.
Okay. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.